Psycho-Pass is a cyberpunk thriller that explores a world where justice is determined by an all-seeing AI, and people's fates are decided before they even commit a crime. With its mix of philosophical dilemmas, psychological tension, and high-stakes action, the series crafts a chilling vision of a future where the line between order and oppression blurs. But in a society where crime can be predicted and prevented, is true justice even possible? Or does the very system meant to protect people ultimately strip them of their humanity? As we break down Psycho-Pass, let's take a hard look at what kind of world it really presents, and whether we're closer to it than we would like to admit. Psycho-Pass takes place in the near-future Japan, where the Sibyl system dictates every aspect of society, using advanced scanners to measure a person's mental state and potential for criminal behavior. Citizens with a high crime coefficient are apprehended or even executed before they even act. The story follows Rookie Inspector Akane Tsunemori as she joins the Public Safety Bureau's Criminal Investigation Division, where she quickly learns that justice under Sibyl is far from black and white. Working alongside enforcers, latent criminals used as hunting dogs by the system, Akane begins to question whether the world she's sworn to protect is built on something fundamentally flawed. As she investigates cases that push the limits of morality and free will, she faces off against individuals who challenge the very foundation of Sibyl's rule, including the enigmatic Shogo Makishima, a man whose ability to evade the system's judgment makes him an anomaly and a serious threat. The anime was produced by Production IG, a studio renowned for its work on high-quality, thought-provoking sci-fi series like Ghost in the Shell. Helming the project was director Naoyoshi Shiotani, who had previously worked on films like Blood Sea: The Last Ark and had experience blending cyberpunk aesthetics with psychological drama. But the real driving force behind Psycho-Pass was Gen Urobuchi, the writer best known for Madoka Magica and Fate Zero, both of which share Psycho-Pass's signature blend of existential dread and philosophical depth. Urobuchi's involvement ensured that the series wasn't just a futuristic crime procedural, but a deep, unsettling look at authoritarian control and human nature. His fascination with exploring the cost of maintaining order is evident throughout the series, especially in the way it forces its characters, and the audience, to grapple with uncomfortable truths about justice and autonomy. Psycho-Pass draws heavy inspiration from classic cyberpunk and dystopian works, particularly the influence of Philip K. Dick's Minority Report and Orwell's 1984. The idea of a system that judges people before they commit crimes directly parallels the pre-crime division in Minority Report, but Psycho-Pass takes it a step further by exploring how such a system shapes everyday life and individual psychology. Visually and thematically, it also carries the DNA of Ghost in the Shell, with its sleek cityscapes, high-tech interfaces, and moral ambiguities. But rather than focusing on transhumanism or AI consciousness, Psycho-Pass zeroes in on the consequences of predictive justice, painting a society that appears orderly on the surface but is built on fear and suppression. With these influences in mind, the series creates a distinct identity, one that resonates with real-world concerns about surveillance, social control, and the trade-offs we make for the illusion of security. Visually, Psycho-Pass leans into a dark, moody color palette that reinforces its oppressive cyberpunk atmosphere. The world is drenched in muted grays, deep blues, and sickly greens, creating a sense of sterility and control that mirrors the Sibyl system's rigid grip on society. This bleakness is punctuated by the stark neon glow of holograms and user interfaces, highlighting the contrast between the system's sleek high-tech exterior and the grim reality underneath. Character designs, led by Reborn artist Akira Amano, strike a balance between realism and stylization, with sharp angular features that give characters a hard and weary look, especially the enforcers who often appear more like predators than protectors. Even Akane, whose rounder features and lighter tones set her apart as an idealistic newcomer, gradually hardens over time, subtly reflecting her internal transformation. In terms of animation, Production IG delivers a polished, cinematic quality that enhances both the action and the psychological weight of the story. One of the standout aspects is the way movement and framing emphasize tension. Slow, deliberate shots create an eerie stillness, while sudden bursts of brutal violence hit with an unflinching intensity. The Dominator weapons, which grotesquely transform criminals into exploding masses of flesh, are animated with visceral detail, making every execution feel disturbingly final. The series also makes strong use of lighting and reflections, often showing characters through glass or monitors, visually reinforcing themes of surveillance and detachment. Action sequences, particularly fights including Kogami and Makishima, are fluid and well choreographed, with a sense of weight and realism that makes every struggle feel desperate and personal. Even in quieter moments, Psycho-Pass uses animation to reinforce its themes. Small details like a flickering hollow screen or a character's hesitant glance add layers to the storytelling, making the world feel lived in and constantly under watch. The soundtrack of Psycho-Pass is a crucial part of its identity, composed by Yugo Kanno, who brings a mix of electronic, orchestral, and industrial sounds to heighten the tension and psychological unease. The score shifts seamlessly between eerie ambient tracks that underscore the omnipresence of the Sibyl system, and pulse-pounding action pieces that drive home the brutality of its enforcement. Tracks like Avant Title and Profiling layer mechanical beats with unsettling melodies, reinforcing the feeling of a world where human lives are reduced to data. The music isn't just background noise, it actively shapes the mood, making quiet moments feel suffocating and violent ones feel overwhelming. Even the recurring motifs, like the chilling distorted vocals woven into some tracks, serve as reminders of the system's inescapable control. The opening theme sets the perfect tone for the series with its chaotic energy, high-pitched vocals, and jagged guitar work. The first ending contrasts this with a haunting, melancholic sound that reflects the show's themes of loss and dehumanization. These tracks, along with the later Out of Control by Nothing's Carved in Stone, capture the series' balance between explosive action and creeping dread. The sound design complements this by making the world feel oppressive. Gunshots from the Dominators echo with the mechanical finality, while the sterile hum of holographic interfaces reinforces the coolness of the Sibyl-controlled society. At its core, Psycho-Pass is a critique of authoritarian control and the cost of a so-called utopian society. The Sibyl system represents the ultimate form of predictive policing, eliminating crime before it happens, but at the cost of individual freedom. This immediately raises the classic dilemma of security versus liberty. If the system can prevent violence, does it justify stripping people of choice? The show also explores the nature of justice through its characters. Kane struggles with the moral implications of enforcing laws she doesn't fully agree with, while Kogami embodies tension between personal vengeance and institutional justice. Meanwhile, Makishima exposes the system's biggest flaw, its inability to judge true human intent, proving that even an all-powerful AI is still just a tool, not a true arbiter of morality. Beyond the surface level, it also explores the psychology of control and compliance. Sibyl doesn't just enforce laws, it dictates how people think, creating a passive, unquestioning populace where even creativity and ambition are dangerous. The show also plays with existentialism, particularly in how characters define meaning in a world where free will is restricted. Akane's journey is especially interesting in this regard. Unlike Makishima or Kogami, she doesn't reject the system outright, but instead seeks to work within it, evolving from a naive idealism to a more pragmatic but still hopeful stance. This makes her one of the rare protagonists in cyberpunk fiction who isn't entirely cynical, offering a perspective that acknowledges the flaws of the world while still believing in change. One of the most overlooked aspects of Psycho-Pass is how it functions as a meta-commentary on dystopian fiction itself. Many cyberpunk stories, from Blade Runner to Ghost in the Shell, focus on the loss of humanity in an increasingly technological world. Psycho-Pass, however, shifts the concern from machines overtaking humans to humans willingly giving up their agency in exchange for order. This makes it feel more in line with works like Brave New World, where control isn't enforced purely through fear but through a system that people accept as natural. It also shares DNA with classic noir films. Makishima in many ways is a throwback to intellectual villains like Hannibal Lecter or Seven's John Doe, using ideology rather than brute force to dismantle the world around him. This blend of influences gives Psycho-Pass a unique place in the genre, bridging philosophical depth with gripping storytelling in a way that makes it feel timeless yet eerily relevant. When I initially watched Psycho-Pass, I expected a mildly interesting sci-fi drama. However, as the years have passed and the universe has expanded, the show has provided different takes on aspects of a genre that's been explored many times before. Paired with competent storytelling and influences from classics like Akira and Ghost in the Shell, it has become a legitimately great series. Even the OVAs and films separate from the main series are just as, if not more, interesting. Some of the side stories are like something you'd find in a great cyberpunk anthology like Mirror Shades or similar works. I couldn't recommend it enough, even though the later seasons are more controversial among fans. I still think it's worth the time and attention to engage with the show and all of its references and ideas. With all that being said, I'm curious what you guys have to say. Psycho-Pass is a highly rated and good show, but it isn't necessarily thought of as a classic or on par with those other mentioned masterpieces. So what do you guys think of Psycho-Pass? Does the show live up to its reputation, or were you disappointed? Do you enjoy the later seasons and the side content like the movies, or is it just filler to you? Be sure to let me know in the comments down below. Thanks for making it until the end of the video. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one.